Hello friends, today we will see I/O ports and registers of MSP430. Okay, I/O ports are mainly used to provide communication with the MSP430 and the peripheral devices that are being connected to the MSP430. MSP430 is having many number of general purpose I/O ports. We will be having P1 to P12, a maximum of P1 to P12, total 12 or 13 I/O ports are available for MSP430 devices. Actually, the number of I/O ports vary from a family of MSP430 to another family of MSP430. And each I/O pin of these MSP430s are individually configurable either as input port or output port. So you have many number of I/O ports available in MSP430, and each individual I/O port is the size of 8-bit. Okay, the size of each I/O port is 8-bit in MSP430, and all these 8 bits in the port can be individually set as an input or set as an output, and all these I/O ports are having a separate individual pull up and pull down resistors. That is, each I/O pin will be having a separate pull up and pull down resistors. Example, consider a port, for example P1, port 1. So port 1 will be having 8 pins like P1.0, port 1.1, port 1.2, and so on. You will be having port 1.7. So 0 to 7, 8 port pins are available in single port named as P1. So likewise P2.0, 2.1, 2.2, similarly port 3, port 4, port 5. So likewise for all the ports of MSP430, you will be having 8 bits of each port. Okay, and all these port pins can be configured as an input. So you can set this P1.0 as an input, or you can set it as an output. Similarly 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, all of these port pins you can use them as input or output. Okay, and all these pin ports, okay, our port pins are having separate pull up and pull down resistors. Okay, so the use of pull up pull down resistors we will discuss after this. Okay, so they are having separate pull up resistor and pull down resistor to make the value as 1 or 0, okay, when you read the data. And all these port pins can be used as a general purpose I/O, that is digital I/O pins. Okay, all these ports and all these port pins can be used as a general purpose digital I/O pins or as a module pin. So you can also use them as a module pin. Module pin is nothing but you can use them for the peripherals. Okay, you can use these I/O pins as a general input output pins, or you can use these I/O pins to connect the modules to the MSP430. And out of the many number of ports that are available for MSP430, okay, P1 and P2 ports are having the interrupt capability, as you have many number of ports availability for MSP430, right? So only the P1 and P2 ports will be having the interrupt capability, which means that they are only able to handle the interrupts of MSP430. Okay, and all these interrupts are prioritized. Okay, prioritized, which means that they can be given the priority when more than one interrupt occurs to the MSP430. You can choose that which interrupt has to be performed. Okay, so P1 and P2 or interrupts are prioritized. So P1.0, that is LSB bit, is having the highest priority, and then P1.7, okay, is having the lowest priority. P1.7 is having the lowest priority, P1.0 is having the highest priority. Similarly P2 also, P2.0 is having the highest priority, P2.7 is having the lowest priority. P3.0 is not there. Okay, only, that is for P3.0 interrupts is not available. Only the P1 and P2 ports are having the interrupt capability. So each and individual bit of these ports P1 and P2 can be used to generate provide the interrupts for the MSP430. and these both ports are having, okay, interrupt vector registers named as P1 interrupt vector, P2 interrupt vector. Okay, P1 IV, P2 IV. P1 IV means port 1 interrupt vector, P2 IV means port 2 interrupt vector. Okay, port 1 is having a separate interrupt vector register and port 2 is having a separate interrupt vector register. What is the use of interrupt vector register? We already know that they are used to store the vector addresses of the interrupts. So each and every interrupt occurs to the port pins is going to do some operation. So the addresses of those interrupts called as interrupt service routines. Okay, the programs that are going to be executed for the interrupts we called as interrupt service routines. So the addresses of these interrupt service routines are stored in the interrupt vector table. Okay, so if you want to configure these IO ports, you can do that with the help of a set of registers. So you are having a set of 8 registers to configure these IO ports. Like if you want to configure the enable, or you want to enable the interrupts for the ports like P1 and P2, or you want to select the port as an input port or output port, or you want to provide a pull up or pull down, you want to set up through the set of registers. So you have to configure it through the set of registers you are having. So the list is given here. You are having PX DIR, direction register, in register, out register, resistor enable register, selection register, okay, and interrupt enable, interrupt edge select, interrupt flag. So you are having in total of 8 registers for the IO ports, and the first 5 registers are common for all the ports. Okay, the first 5 registers, they are common for the so these 5 registers, they are common for all the ports. Okay, and the remaining 3 registers, you can look at the remaining 3 registers, PXIE, PXIES and PXIFG. Okay, they are only used for the P1 and P2 ports because they are interrupt registers. So interrupt registers are available only for the 2 ports, one is P1 and another one is P2. Okay, so these are the important features of MSP430 IO ports and registers. And let us look at the IO pin structure of the MSP430. Okay, so these registers are configured to provide the IO structure for the pin logic. So every port pin, you can see that this is the port Pn point X, that is P1 point X or P2 point X or P3 point X, like P1.0 or 2.0 or 3.1 or 4.3. So any port pin, okay, can be configured with the help of a set of registers, and you can see what are the registers that are connected through this port pin to the each and individual port pin. All the registers are connected, and that is shown here. This is 2 parts, one is the module part and this is the IO part. Okay, this is module part called as peripheral part, okay, and this is IO part. So you can select the IO function for the port pin, or you can select the module function for the port pin. It is up to the requirement. So if you want your port pins to be used as a simple general purpose IO port pins, you can select it, or you can select the port pins to act as a module to connect the module to the MSP430. So for that you want to use a register called as PNSEL. Okay, select register. You have a port select register. With the help of this selection register, you can select this. Okay, if the selection register is 0, it is shown here. If the selection register is 0, it is IO function. If the selection register is 1, it is the module function. So with the help of selection register, you can select the IO function or the module function for the IO ports. Okay, and then you are having output port register, Pout register. So by configuring the Pout register, you will be having the output values to the port. So whatever the output values you want to write to the port, you will be storing that values in the output register. Okay, and if you want to read any values from the port, and the values that are read from the port are stored in the input register. This is P in X input register. You can see the direction of the data is This is the direction of the data for the input, and this is the direction of the data for the output. Okay, output means you are going to write the data to the port, and input means you are going to read the data from the port. And you can select whether the input operation or output operation, that is you want to read the data from the port or you want to write the data from the port. Okay, so for that you are having a directional register P1 DIR. So P1 DIR stands for directional register. So directional register helps you to select the direction of data transfer. So if this bit is 0, okay, data is input. If this bit is 1, data is output. Okay, you can select the direction of data transfer as the input or output. Okay, if the direction is set to 0, that is input, you can read the data from the port. If the direction is set to 1, that is the output, you can write the data to the port. Similarly, for module also, you are having the input and output. You can see the module input and outputs. So this is module output and this is the module input, and you can also select the direction for the module as input and output. Okay, that is the structure of a simple IO logic. So for simple IO logic, you will be getting registers like PX output register, and input register, and directional register, and then selection register. Okay, and now let us look at the another structure of IO pin with the interrupts. Okay, this is with interrupts. So you will be having the same registers that works for the port pin, like P1 out, P1 in, that is P1 or P2, okay, or PX, and then direction, selection register, module direction, all these are common. In addition to that, you will be having the interrupts. Okay, you will be having interrupt registers. We know that 3 interrupt registers are available. Okay, one is IE. IE is interrupt enable register. So this is interrupt enable register. So interrupt enable register will allow the interrupts. If you disable the IE register, your interrupts will not be accepted. If you want your interrupts to be accepted, IE register must be enabled. Interrupt enable register must be set to 1. So if it is set to 1, then the interrupts is enabled and interrupts are accepted by the MSP430 through the port pins P1 and P2. Otherwise they are not accepted by the MSP430. And this is interrupt request. Okay, IRQ. Okay, this is IE, interrupt enable port register, and this is IRQ, interrupt request register. Okay, interrupt request register. So interrupt request register, interrupt request will be generated, okay, only if the interrupt enable pin is 1. If the interrupt enable pin is 0, it will be disabled, so no interrupt request pin will be generated. Okay, and for the interrupts that are occurring through the ports P1 and P2, you need to select the edge. Okay, you will having interrupt edge select, IES register, IES, okay, register. IES register means interrupt edge select register. So with the help of interrupt edge select register, you can select at what edge the interrupt need to occur. Okay, like at the rising edge or falling edge. 0 means 0 to 1. So 0 to 1 is the rising edge. So this is 0 to 1 rising edge. Okay, and 1 to 0. So 1 to 0 is the falling edge. Okay, 1 to 0. If the value goes from 1 to 0, that is called as falling edge. On falling edge, the interrupt will be accepted. Okay, or on the rising edge, the interrupt will be accepted. So you can select at what edge the interrupt need to be generated or accepted, like 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. So 0 to 1, it's the rising edge. 1 to 0, it is the falling edge. Okay, so these 3 are the registers: interrupt enable register, and then interrupt edge select register, and then interrupt flag. Okay, the interrupt flag is set if the interrupts are enabled. Okay, if the interrupts are not enabled, the interrupt flag will be set to 0. Okay, so this is the interrupt structure for IO pins, interrupt structure. Okay, so these 2 structures are available for the IO ports. One is the simple structure of IO, another one is the interruptible structure. Now let us look at the registers that are available. Okay, first one is the PXDIR. So PXDIR is the direction register. So direction register, if this all these registers are 8-bit, because each port is having 8 pins, so each register has to be 8 bits. Okay, so if you set any bit of this direction register as 0, any bit of the directional register as 0, then that is going to be the input register. Okay, that is going to act as the direction as input, so that you can read the data. If you set the direction bit as 1, any port pin as a 1, direction port pin as a 1, then that particular port pin will be set to the output direction, so you can write the data to the port. Similarly, you are having an input register, so when you read the data and you are going to store that data in the input register, so if the input data read is 0, which means it is low. If you read the value as 1, that is high. Okay, you can set these px in values. You can put the value as 0 or you can put the value as 1. Similarly, out, so if you want to write some data to the output port, you can write through this output register. So this is also output register is also 8-bit. So if you write 0, then the output is low. If you write 1, then output is high. So to any of the port pins like P1.0 out or P2.0 out or P3.0 out, so for any port pin, if you are writing the value as 0, then the corresponding output will be low. Okay, the corresponding output will be high. For example, if you want to glow any LED that is connected to the output, if you want to glow the LED, make the LED on, then you want to provide high value at the pin, that is you want to write 1 to the LED. If you want to make the LED off, then you want to write 0 to the LED. Okay, and this port register, that is output port register, is having two functions. So one is acting as a output register, don't confuse in this. Okay, it is having two functions. So it can be acted as an output register, or it can be acted as a pull up pull down register for the input. Okay, pull up pull down resistor is used only for the registers if the direction is set as the input. Okay, if the direction is set as a input, then you are going to use the output register as the pull up or pull down register. Okay, so if you set the bit to 0, the pin is pulled down. If you set the bit to 1, the pin is pulled up. Okay, because when you are reading the data from the input port, as the input port is not connected to anything, when you read the data from the input port, you will get a high values, floating values. Sometimes you will get 1, sometimes you will get 0, that is you will get a random values, floating values when you try to read the input that is open, that is not connected to anything. So to get a constant value like 1 or 0 from the input port, when you try to read the input port, the pull up pull down resistor concept is used. Okay, so you can set the input port to the 0 by pulling down, or you can set it as a 1 by pulling up. Okay, so output register is having two functions. It can be used, okay, when as a output register if the direction is set to output. If the direction is set to output, okay, here it is. If the direction is set to output, okay, if the direction is set to output, then this is an output register. If the direction is set to input, then this is a pull up pull down resistor. Okay, it depends on direction. And the next one is resistor enabled register. So resistor, you want to keep this pull up pull down resistor, or you don't want to use this pull up pull down resistor for the port, then you need to use this register to enable or disable the pull up pull down resistors. If you set this bit to 0, resistor bit to 0, okay, then your pull up pull down resistor will be disabled. You cannot use this pull up pull down resistor. If you set this resistor enable, okay, resistor enable register port pins to the 0. In case if you set this resistor enable register port pins to 1, you can enable this pull up pull down resistors. Okay, by default all will be disabled. If you can set it if required. Okay, then you have a selection register that we have already seen, a selection register bit 0 IO function is selected, bit 1 peripheral module function is selected. Okay, peripheral module, you can select the IO ports to be acted as a peripheral module, or a general IO function can be selected. And then you are having interrupt enable register. So these interrupt enable register and interrupt edge select and interrupt flag, these three registers are used only for the two ports P1 and P2, only for two ports P1 and P2, because P1 and P2 ports are only having the interrupt capability. So these three registers are used only for these three ports P1, P2, P3. So PXIE is interrupt enable. Okay, interrupt enable register. If this bit is set to 1, the interrupt will be enabled. If this bit is set to 0, interrupt will be disabled. Okay, so you can enable the interrupts or you can disable the interrupts. If you enable the interrupts will be accepted by the MSP 430. Otherwise, if you disable these interrupts, then the port pins P1 and P2 ports cannot accept the interrupts. Okay, and PXIES is the interrupt edge select. Okay, interrupt edge select, you can select at what edge the interrupt need to occur. Like interrupt occurs on low to high or high to low transition. Low to high if it is 0, high to low if it is 1. So if the bit is set to 1, the transition or the interrupt occurs on high to low. If the bit is set to 0, interrupt occurs on low to high transition. Okay, and interrupt flag. If the interrupt flag bit is set to 0, which means no interrupt is pending. Okay, if it is set to 1, an interrupt is pending. So if an interrupt is pending, then you cannot again give a new interrupt. Okay, if the interrupt is pending, you cannot give again another new interrupt. Whereas if there no interrupt is pending, then you can give a new interrupt through the port pin. Okay, so this interrupt flag register gives you the status of whether the interrupts is being processed on that pin or the interrupts or no interrupts are occurred on that pin. Okay, so these are the different 8 registers that are used for the general purpose IO operations. Okay, and interrupt operations on the GPIO ports of MSP 430. And now let us look at the pull up pull down resistor concept. So as I told you, generally if you look at the digital circuits, you will be having two valid states called as 0 and 1. Okay, 0 low, 1 high. But there is another state called as a high impedance state, called as a tri-state. Okay, so that is, you may get 1 value or 0 value randomly due to the open condition of the switch. Okay, we call this as a floating. So if the switch is open, if you try to read the values from the switch, then you may get a 0 value or 1 value. So floating values, randomly you will get those values. But this is a very serious condition in MSP4. This is very serious condition when you try to read the ports in any of the digital IO ports. To avoid this problem, we are going to use a concept called as pull up pull down resistor concept. So what you are going to do in this pull up pull down resistor concept is very simple. Here it is shown. Okay, so your pin, input pin, will be connected to the large resistance to the supply. Okay, 3.3 volts VCC. Through the large resistance, your input pin will be connected to supply or to the ground with the help of a switch. Okay, if the switch is open, now the switch is open, so your controller input is connected to the VCC. Your switch is open, so the controller input is connected to the VCC. So whenever you try to read the values at the input, you will get high value, logic 1. Okay, now in case if your switch is closed, if you are closing the switch, you are creating a path for the ground. You will be creating the path for the ground. So when the switch is closed and if you try to read the values at the input port, you will get 0, that is low. That is called as pull down configuration. If the port pin is connected to ground, okay, that is called as pull down configuration. And if the port pin is connected to plus 3.3 volts VCC or high, that is called as pull up configuration. Okay, so now here the diagram is shown for the simple pull up configuration as the switch is in open condition. Okay, Another simple diagram that shows a model of how the pull-up resistors and GPIO pins are configured on the MSP 430. Okay, so that is for setting your IO pins for the direction as input, okay, and enabling the resistors, and then you are setting using the P1 out, because you will get a confusion for the P1 out, because P1 out is used for two different functions, one as a output, another one as a pull up pull down, right? So when you have to use that P1 as an output, or when you have to use that P1 out as a pull up pull down. So P1 out is used as pull up pull down only when two conditions are satisfied, okay, that is setting the direction as input and when REN is enabled, okay, resistor is enabled, resistor is enabled and your direction is set as input. When these two conditions are satisfied, then only, okay, your output port is used as the pull up or pull down. So that simple configuration is shown here. So this is external switch and that is connected to the ground at one end, and at the other end it is connected to the VCC. Okay. Now if you look at the other end of this switch, you are having a input port and that is with resistor enabled. So pull up or pull down resistor, you are having a resistor enable concept P1 REN, okay, P1 REN resistor enable concept. You need to enable this, you need to set this to 1. If you set this to 1, your resistor will be enabled, pull up pull down resistor will be enabled, so that you can use that for the pull up or pull down configuration. Okay, you need to set this resistor enable to 1, and also you need to set the direction. So P1 direction to 0. So 0 means input. Okay, so these two conditions must be satisfied. You need to set the direction, okay, as 0. P1 direction input you need to set to 0, and P1 resistor enable set to 1. If these two conditions are satisfied, then your P1 out will be, okay, your P1 out will be used as, okay, pull up or pull down. If P1 out is 1, pull up, P1 out is 0, ground. So you can see that again this is also pull up configuration. So if you want to showcase this diagram, okay, in pull down configuration, simply you need to, okay, connect this to the ground, make this to 0, okay, then this becomes a pull down configuration, a simple change, okay, because P1 out is connected to VCC, that is pull up configuration. If P1 out is connected to ground, that is the pull down configuration. Okay, so this is how we need to use the IO ports and resistors of the MSP 430. Okay, thank you.